Hello, and welcome to the first edition of the new season of Red Devils Roundup and our very first match reaction review, whatever you want to call it. And of course, we are reacting immediately after full time at Old Trafford. United nil, Arsenal 1. Uh, if it's your first time, welcome. Appreciate you having you on. If you've never been here before, like and subscribe. Get involved. We want to hear your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the lineups. And yeah, just send us your questions and what we think. We're going to get involved. We're going to get into it. First of all, let's welcome Mr. Reliable, always around. It's Mark Langridge here for a second season. How you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, yeah, I'm all good, mate. Well, that was good to watch, wasn't it? I'm happy to get into that. Good times might be ahead if we play like that for another 37 games.
Absolutely. Yeah, lots of positives, a few negatives, which we'll get into. But I definitely think today the positives have definitely outweighed the negatives on that part. But yeah, as you can see, we've also got partner in crime, co-owner of the channel alongside myself, Mr. Jonathan O'Neill. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, Nathan. All good, thank God. Yeah, I share Mark's sentiment. Definitely a lot to be positive about. And to be honest, I probably feel more encouraged by that performance today in defeat than I did in the 1-0 victory over Fulham in the opening day last year, to be honest. But yeah, looking forward to look into it.
Bath Time's here as well. OMG, it's Mr. Pyramids and the lads. Great to have you on Bath Time. Already going at Mr. Langridge from Mr. Pyramids. Love it. Good to have you on board. Let us know what you thought of the game. We're excited to go into a second season. We started halfway through the season last time round. We're now here right at the start of the season as the Balls Out podcast, bringing you hopefully as regular as physically possible Red Devils roundups and reviews and match reactions and previews as much as possible. So if you're liking what you're watching, just get involved, like and subscribe, and we will continue to bring you as best content as we possibly can. But let's jump in straight into the game. Yeah, so United nil, Arsenal 1. My I'll start with my personal opinion on the match itself. I thought the lineups were interesting. I thought that Mount starting especially really took me by surprise. I thought that Sheshko not starting, especially not even having a Højlund in the lineups, really shocked me. As far as I'm aware, there's no reason that Højlund wasn't in the starting 11 or on the bench. And I think Jonathan mentioned it in our group chat at one point, unless there's a medical pending, like tomorrow, he should have been in the starting lineup, regardless of whether he's going to be playing or not. Doesn't matter. But yeah, I thought that was interesting enough. And I think when the season fixtures came out, Mark, I think we all sort of said, we'll take a narrow defeat on day one if it means a good performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think first 8 game or first 10 games we've played the top four from last year or something like that, and you've got to say we wanted to see levels, didn't we? We want to come, ironically, as you just told me, we are sat in 15th, but we need to be playing a lot higher level kind of football and things like that. But I think we recorded 20 plus shots on some people's stats today. Well, it's definitely over 15. Against Arsenal, that's definitely an improvement and kept them down out of the double figures. So, yeah, it's out the way. It was winnable. I think we all believed it was winnable. If you were going to beat Arsenal, beating them on the opening day, same as a City, maybe same as a Liverpool, opening day jitters is a good place to start. So, yeah, it's a little bit upsetting that we've walked away with a defeat, but in the right manner. We didn't give up, and we certainly should have scored one or two. And I'm not surprised Sky Sports are giving David Raya the man of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of reaction. Clinton Morrison on BBC Radio 5 Live says Man United created a lot of chances. Mateus Cunha and Brian Bremo are going to be very good signings. It looks like they can both manage the big shirt. Came to the ground last season. Fans were leaving 20 minutes before the end, but today everyone stayed just to clap them off. That's got to be a massive sign of things coming forward, Jonathan, that, you've got fans in the ground not leaving early. We've lost the game against Arsenal, admittedly by the narrowest of margins, a by and dear mistake in goal. But yet the fans have stayed behind. The United faithful have stayed there at the end of the game to say, you know what, that's a performance.
Yeah, well, I've said it numerous times on this podcast over the last couple of seasons that all the fans want to see is effort and application. And like we don't like no one likes losing at any time, but when you lose and you play like that with encouragement, with fight, and you go down swinging, the fans will accept that, and the fans will get behind you game after game after game, and we saw that today, and the fitness levels were like nothing I've ever seen in a Man United team for years now. It was like we look so off the pace the last few years. We look like a championship team that had gotten promoted from a fitness point of view the last few years. We outran, outmaneuvered Arsenal today. Like, albeit it's the first game of the season, Arsenal will improve. Of course they will. They're title contenders every year for a reason, but that is so encouraging to start the season like that. For 96 minutes, they outran Arsenal. They fought for every ball. It was so encouraging. And literally, the only thing the performance was missing was just a deserved equalising goal. But there's so much to be positive about, and the fans rightly clapped the team off at the end because they gave it their all. They left it out there, and there was a lovely moment in the last 15 minutes, I think it was, when Cunha won a free kick off Saliba and he turned to the crowd and he just roared at the crowd. And that's what you want to see. That gets the fans up, and it's just he's that sort of player as well. He plays with a bit of edge, and yeah, look, there's just so much to be encouraged about today. Okay, we leave empty-handed, but yeah, you can see why the fans stayed till the end, and we're 100% behind the team today.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, a lot of reaction on social media. Man United look more like the title contenders than Arsenal today. Arsenal get off to a great start to the season. United better by miles, but the team, we deserve to beat Arsenal, but for a Bayern mistake. One here, Sheshko played 25 minutes, hardly got a touch. Maybe Højlund wasn't the issue. Maybe it's service. Now, we've been hammering on about that for months and months. It's no secret. It's never been about Højlund. It's never been about Sheshko. It's just been about service. Let's talk about what that tells us going forward. And I think you summed it up at one point in the group chat, Jonathan, is that it just goes to show that a goalkeeper is fundamental now before this transfer window shuts, that we need to go out and spend money on a decent goalkeeper. Onana was out today. He's been training this week, not fit enough to play today. So Bayern went in. Bayern has never really been that safest of hands. I think it's fair to say, he tried in the AFCON, I think it was last year before, in a cup match. Then last year when Onana was either suspended or dropped or whatever it was, and then we shipped 4 goals at Newcastle. That really how has to be. That how now has to be priority number one going in before this transfer window shuts. Is that a goalkeeper?
Yeah, no, definitely it does. And like, it's not as if there isn't keepers available. One of the best keepers in the world is currently available. And, yeah, like, I mean, we can't be saying that we're setting aside 80 odd £1 million for Baliba, and then we can't afford £25 million for Donnarumma. Now I understand there'll be higher wages, and we don't know what sort of agent fees that are being asked for as well. Maybe that's what's deterring Man United. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but this just looks like the most obvious deal on paper. Okay, he does have an odd mistake in him, but every goalkeeper does. But that the upgrade and the confidence that would provide to the entire team would be unbelievable. Because if us as fans are concerned by the goalkeeping situation, what way are the likes of Yoro, Delict, Maguire, Luke Shaw? Like, what way are they thinking when a ball has been swung into the box? And that just leaks into the team. It creates needless anxiety and nervousness. So look, it shouldn't have been allowed to get to this point. Onana summed up his time at Man United in that Europa League final when he let in that goal, and it should have been the end of the road there for him and for Bayern. We've been rootless in other places. We needed to be rootless there, and unfortunately we weren't. And now it's a case where we're going to be kind of panicking in the next few weeks of the transfer window. But it has to be addressed. If the window closes on September 1st and we have Onana and Bayern and Heaton as our 3 goalkeepers, and that's not a dig at Heaton, by the way. I'm just listing the goalkeepers that we have. Then we're in big trouble, and it could end up costing Ruben his job. And you can see the positivity building there. You can see what Ruben Amorim is building, and it would be so disappointing to look back on his time if he was sacked and be looking at goalkeeping errors that cost him his job, because it's just yeah, it probably compounded the result even more today, that we weren't beaten by a piece of brilliance or a wonderful goal. It was just another goalkeeping error, which kind of brought us back to the nightmares of last season.
Yeah, Mark, I want to bring your attention to this comment and just get your opinions on that. Bayern Dia had a shocking moment, no doubt, but I felt on the ball it was very good performance from him, probably because of the pre-season. We might lose that with a new signing. What's your thoughts on that from bath time there?
Um, he was okay on the ball. He certainly seemed to know the patterns and pass it out. And pre-season is always important, isn't it? But Donnarumma, Martinez, they've been playing in teams where you play out. It's not like you're asking a keeper to go from going from old school Wimbledon Route 1 to start knocking it around at the back. Every keeper plays with their feet. What I will say is we got really bloody lucky and we almost scored from it when he shanked one straight up to Bruno. So he's playing out with his feet weren't great. He drilled one, mishit it. Bruno takes an amazing touch and plays Cunha in, and then he goes on that run. But yeah, for me, there's two goalkeepers. You've got to go get one of them, and Donnarumma seems the obvious choice at 20, 30 million, whatever you need to pay. If you've got to pay him big wages, I'm sorry, but 20 something million for one of the rated top 5 goalkeepers in the world, then you're saving money in those wages anyway, right? You're not paying 50, 60 million like we did, so give him the wages. It's still the same outlay. But, Martinez, he's down 1 game now, 2 more games to go. So for his ban, and he can play for us. So by the time we get the deal done, he can come in. They can both pass out from the back. You're only asking them to play a ball off to the left or off to the right 9 times out of 10. There was a bit worrying some of the passes he laid in, and we seem to have this midfielder comes short, gets the ball, and he flicks it out to the right back or the left back, namely the right back, because I don't think we ever went left with it once, because it's just when you're running back and most players are right-footed, that's the easy pass to make. And he underhit 2 or 3 of them. It was more the speed of the player coming in that made the pass, and it was a good pass. But, for me and a lot of people I know, and I'd be interested to see if you boys agree, Heaton should have been playing in goal. I'd put Heaton in goal, hands down. Premier League experience, good with his feet, good in the air. Okay, he's older, but I think he clears those players out for the goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think apart from that, did Brian Deere have a save to make? Was there one? Maybe one actual clear-cut save where he tipped it over? But yeah, Tom Heaton. What difference would Tom Heaton have played? He's better in the air. He's old school, isn't he? He's old school. Come and take it, clear everyone out. But I will say, I thought it was a foul, not on Bayern Deer, but he's smashing the shit out of Mount in front of Bayern Deer, and then he decides to put hands on both like that. And so, how's that not a foul? I don't know. But Raya proves who's smaller than Bayern Deer. We put the exact same corner in on Raya, and he took everything. And as Roy Keane said at half-time, if you're watching Sky Sports, and he said it before, and I totally agree with it, if you're going to go for the ball, go with aggression. You've got to punch their head off the shoulders if you miss the ball. You've got to have that knee up and collide with the player and take him out and take the ball. It's just basics. We failed at the basics in that scenario, but that's all it is. They're Stoke City. They're good at corners.
Yeah, absolutely. Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes has been speaking to Sky Sports after the game. These are his comments. It's the first game of the season, so we cannot speak about a step forwards. We conceded a goal from a set piece early on, but from then on, Arsenal didn't create any chances. We created lots of chances and didn't score, so we have to do better with that next time. We controlled the game well, and we were good on the ball. When you touch the goalkeeper and he can't jump, that makes it difficult for Bayern Deer. We know the Premier League, they don't give much. Even if they had a meeting with us saying they will whistle more players, they will whistle more if players block and don't look at the ball. It is more of a saying. He also spoke on Cunha and Embuemo. They created a lot and they were in the right positions. We know they are dangerous and they are a threat. We are very aware of what they give to the team. It was a good first impression for them, but I'm pretty sure they will do much better. And he also had his thoughts on the season ahead. We have a big hope for what we want to do and we want to achieve. there are positive things to look at. Scoring goals, I really liked the reactions of the fans at the end. I really appreciate what they did. That was more of a sign of hope, and that what we did during the game. Do you want to give me your reaction to that, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's not really surprising. I'd agree with most of what he said there, particularly about Mbeumo and Cunha. You could see the difference they made to the ball carrying the team. It was unbelievable, particularly Cunha, some of the movement, and he had a touch there at one point in the second half, and it was I hadn't seen anything like that at Old Trafford for a long time. So it's so refreshing to see just established, proven players that just
Yeah.
they look like they belong in this shirt. I understand it's only one competitive game, but it's a big game against Arsenal, and there was no fear, there was no nervousness. They were just straight into it, and the two of them were better than anything Arsenal had in the same position. So like it says a lot, really. So yeah, and to be fair as well to Bruno, while we're talking about Bruno, you can see the creative pressure it takes off him, because it's not up to him to ping long 50-50 balls and desperation balls and one-off balls. We were actually transitioning the ball with control because we had Mbeumo and Cunha to bring it up the field, and Mount as well to a lesser extent. So yeah, and he mentioned the targets as well. I know we probably look at that ourselves as well, but I'm sure they'll have their own internal targets, and they would have definitely been targeting within that game today, because you could tell by the way they were going for it that they were targeting the win. And I'm sure they'll be downbeat, but I hope they don't dwell on it too long, because there was so much to be positive about.
100%. Yeah. Former Republic of Ireland striker Clinton Morrison on BBC 5 Live said, Cunha has got the X factor. You come to a football match, you want to be entertained. He will entertain. He is a talent, and I think he will take his game to another level playing with better players at United. What was your reaction to Cunha today, Mark? Or both of them? You can talk about Mbeumo and Cunha.
Yeah, no. Cunha, as Jonathan said, the little touches, the little turns, being able to run and beat a couple of players, absolutely need that. It was, as you said just before we started, it was a shame he done that when we had no striker in the box to play a little 1-2 so you can finish it off. Because as we know, the further you run and you're getting bounced off the Arsenal players, you're going to start losing your balance and your shot's going to end up probably shit. And Mbeumo, he done everything you probably could have asked for him. I thought he was going to score until Ahmad decided to tackle him. Maybe we can come back to that, because that's exactly what I said about the last game, about Mbeumo and Ahmad running into each other, which is probably one of the reasons he was dropped. I think personally, I think it's been looked at.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving forward, come on, they're moving the ball, they're making runs. But I think it goes back to, are we buying them as a front three with Sesko and playing a front three now, or are they playing as 10s?
Well, you could
know who the striker was. That's only one thing. They got on the ball. I didn't see them play a pass forward to get in behind. So who was the striker today? Until Sesko, and then Sesko come on, and no one passed to Sesko.
It was interesting because Sky Sports did their lineups on the Sky Sports app, and they had Mount as the lone striker, which I thought was an interesting choice. But you could definitely feel there was definitely a link-up play between Cunha and Mbeumo really early on, and definitely from the breaks in attacks. Like even since Ollie was in charge, we were having these conversations about playing on the counter attack. We've always been stronger in that respect, ever since then. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So as soon as Arsenal gave away the ball in sort of like in their own half, you had the element of surprise where their wing backs weren't back far enough. So you had the opportunity. I mean, you saw Dorgu a couple of times just launch the ball at Mbeumo, and Mbeumo was away. And if he had, like we said, what we said pre-game, we'll talk about it now actually. Like we said pre-game, if you had a striker, maybe not Højlund, whether or not Højlund has a medical tomorrow or whatever Højlund's plan is, he should have been starting. Šeško 100% should have been started from the beginning. You have a player like that can hit the ball, can strike the ball in those positions. Mbeumo and Cunha had moments where they were having to do all the work themselves, getting into the box themselves, and then had nobody to pass it to. So if you give them a striker, surely that means you're adding easily 15 goals a season just in that respect, just to have somebody on the end of them.
Nathan, I think you're spot on, mate, because I remember at least 3 chances in the first half, and Burmo and Dallo get down the right hand side between them, overlap, pull the ball back all the way to the edge of the box because there's 6 Arsenal shirts in there, not one Man United, and that's because we didn't have a striker. Now everyone slags off Rasmus, going he might run to the wrong post, he might miss the chance, but at least he was in the box, which means that those defenders have to defend against him. And the pullback's fine, but there was no one in the box. And that happened 2, 3, 4 times throughout the game. Definitely 3 in the first half, and I believe it happened in the second half. And then, you're right, we kept doing the same things, and it was nice. There was a lot. We picked up the same balls, didn't we? The little overlaps, the little cutbacks. And then Sesko came on, that went out the window, and we turned into a Sunday League side and started trying to lob the ball into Harry Maguire and missing out.
Yeah, I think I take that into account 100%. I agree with you in the respect of that. But I think also we have to put some criticism on Ruben Amorim at that point, because you could already see that Arsenal were shutting up shop. You could already see that Arsenal were like, no, we're going to protect this lead now. So we're just going to put everyone behind the ball and start playing the dark arts that they were playing last season. So having Šeško come on at that point of the game was the wrong decision. You know, when we were having really good opportunities early on in the second half, that should have been the point where Ruben should have pulled the trigger and said, right, Šeško, get warmed up, you're going on, because Arsenal are looking shaky here. So
that needed a second striker, wouldn't you have said? Like a Xerxes then, at least. If you're not going to play Rasmus, you're not going to play Obi, which I cannot get my head around them even being included, then you put Xerxes in.
Yeah.
And because that gives each centre-back a player to occupy, you've got wing-backs going forward and it pushes them further back. I don't think we got it entirely right, but we definitely have got it right for the season. Do you know, for Arsenal, that might not have been the right, like you just said, we didn't really change, did we, come the end? We're still sort of playing the same formation. They dropped into a 5-4-1 almost.
Yeah.
And looked to counter. But there's a lot of encouragement there. But it's still the same players. So that's the only thing I'd ask. It's still the same players, and I haven't seen much difference between this and the last a few games underneath him, apart from the understanding what I'm meant to do and where I'm meant to go. And fitness. Jonathan, you said that right at the start. It's the first time I've seen him run for 90 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Shaw especially. Shaw looked really, really fit. Really, you know, we've seen him come back after pre-seasons, not a bit leggy and a bit worrying. But today, I think we can fairly say that all the players came back and they looked fit and ready to go. And a lot of the reaction coming out of this game today is how we've lost it, you know, just really struggling. Let's see if we've got any... here we go.
We'll call a spade, mate. We lost it to a fuck-up.
Yeah.
That's why we lost. We lost to a goalkeeping howler, which is last season, like no matter who's in goal, this happened numerous times. Bindier got beat by a corner directly in, and Anna got beat by a corner directly in. You know, maybe it's how we line up in the box. If you have less defenders in there, in the 6-yard box, then it's a clear push in the box. What Bruno's saying, if you've got 2 hands on the player and you're doing that, that's the rest meant to stop play. Or it's a foul. If it's 1 hand, it's not a foul.
All right, we've got reaction from Ruben Amorim speaking to Sky Sports. I'm really proud of the guys today. They were really brave in everything they did. Congratulations for the performance. We deserved a different result, and we need to move on to the next one. We were more aggressive than last year, and we went 1 against 1 all game, and we pressed high. We had the quality with the ball. Even when the stadium made some sounds, we continue to play the way we play. You always feel in the game they can do something, not just with the ball, but without, and I am proud of the game we played. We have lost, and we have things to work on. We need to win games, but that was completely different to last season, which we've already said. On the Arsenal goal, sometimes it happened last year. It's not playing the ball. I understand we want goals, and when you are touching the goalkeeper, sometimes you are pushing and you don't have more hands to go for the ball. We need to be stronger. We are not changing the rules. We have to adapt to the rules. Today, I think we were the better team. We have players to win any game in the Premier League. We need to focus and forget the noise. It doesn't matter who is playing. We want to win more games. Jonathan, have you got any of your reaction to that one?
Yeah, it's pretty on point of what we were saying here. Really, I wouldn't disagree with anything he said. He's flapping a little bit again around the question regarding the goalkeeper, but then again, he's not going to come out and hang the goalkeeper out to dry either, because it just damages morale. But like, I'm sure he's well aware of the issues that are there. It's just how he deals with them long term. But no, like he's on point with everything he says there, and especially the point of that they can't dwell on today. Now it's important that they just put it behind them and get going again into next week against Fulham. I just hope that we don't enter a kind of run of games now where we're looking at moral victories. Like, we need to start scoring goals. This has been the problem for United for the last 2 years. It's just not scoring goals, and we played well today. We created chances, but again, we didn't score. It's another duck egg we're after recording. So we just need to start hitting the back of the net consistently, and just, I mean, at one point the top goal scorers in the Premier League for us popped up in the second half there. And I was just looking at it again. I mean, I think Marcus Rashford was our fourth or fifth top scorer last year with 4 Premier League goals. I mean, the guy went on loan in January, for fuck's sake. It's crazy, like, how poor from a goal scoring point of view Man United have been the last few years. It's something that we were renowned for, was our ability to score goals for years and years, and it's just so disappointing to see us end up like this. So look, I really hope that we start.
Well, Jonathan, there's one thing with that, because Ahmad and Bruno both scored 8. And
Yeah.
anyone remember how many games Ahmad played last season? He was out for half the season and scored as many goals as Bruno Fernandes. And all of Ahmad's goals were from open play. Nearly all of Bruno's were from penalties. I think it was 3 goals from open play out of that 8. So 5 penalties, 3 from open play.
Open play goals, yeah.
Daniel Sturridge on Sky Sports. United showed a different side to Arsenal that we haven't seen, in that they were a bit more open, especially in central areas. United found a lot of joy down the wings, especially with Mbeumo on the right side in the first half. All in all, United's attack will be going away thinking to themselves, on another day, I could be walking away with 1 or 2. And if I was in Mbeumo, I would be going to bed thinking, wow, I should have left with at least 1 goal today.
Yeah.
And I think that's spot on. In any other game, Roy Keane's already put some hammering blows against Arsenal today. He had this to say. You wonder why Arsenal are still coming up short. It's because they're happy to sit back and win 1-0. And then you think, is that the reason you drew so many games last year? You compare that to Man City and Liverpool. They are always looking to go and get on to get 2, maybe even 3 goals. Even on a bad day, they can score 2 or 3 goals. And I think that's just what we were up against today. They were the merchants in that respect last year. I'm not going to sit here and say that, last year Arsenal just managed to get second place just by playing that way. It was obviously like that. We can't sit here and say shit like that, because we finished in an abysmal Premier League position last year. But I think
it was a bad Premier League season. No, I think City were off the pace. Liverpool didn't play amazing, and they ran away with it, at times. And so I've had their own fans say there was games where you're like, how the hell have we won that? Because they've just got counter-attacks. Do you know what I mean? A few counter-attacks that have actually paid off. Arsenal today, I've got the stats in front of me, so let's quickly run through them. So, Bayern Deer made 1 save and conceded 1 goal. David Raya saved 5 from 5 shots on goal, on target. So, all 5 shots hit the target, he had to save them. From 17 shots in total, and most of them are from outside the box, high, wide, and handsome. If you saw the Ugarte one, I thought it was going to go for a throw-in near the end. Arsenal had 7 shots, 2 on target. Yeah. 62% possession to United. And when was the last time we were up anywhere near 50-50, let alone on the right side of possession stats? 10 fouls to 17. What I liked about the game, and everyone probably does, the physicality of United, snapping into tackles.
Yeah.
Not worried about picking up a yellow, not worried about the body checks and things like that. I thought the ref also let a lot of that go. And
you say that immediately as soon as Harry Maguire came on, and he gave the foul away immediately, because he wasn't afraid to just body check him and keep him off the ball from getting into the box.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that. We haven't seen players do that.
No. But you're not going to score if you take him out, are they? Like, I know
No.
you might get a booking as long as you're not the last man and going to lead the team down to 10 men for the
He
rest.
knew what he was doing. Maguire knew exactly. He wasn't
Yeah.
getting booked for that. He just body checked him, get him off the ball. That's it. Free kick, and it went nowhere. So
Yeah, corners three to us, 4 to them. And obviously, we know what happened. And we were only offside once. That's something that we're not used to seeing. How many times have United caught offside? And like you just said, I know they were defending deep, so maybe we couldn't get in behind to be offside. But that's where you're playing the ball around and playing the right ball, or were we playing a lot of long balls where they can run from their own half? It's a bit one of those you got to.
And that offside that we were caught on
highlights.
today was in Buemo passing to Dallo, and that was when Dallo had nobody to pass to in the box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on that overlap. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, I can't cross it. I'll pass it to you. And then he just instantly hits it first time when actually just drive into the box.
Yeah,
from
and
there.
Buemo probably should have just drove in and kept going because, I mean, I
And
know
get the corner.
in the split second, split second, you don't realise he's going to be offside, but in that respect, take the player on and then give Dallo an opportunity to get himself back on
Yeah.
side. Then you pass him the ball, and then, like you say, you draw a corner.
But that's one thing I was saying with Amrin when he come in. You had Rasmus, and what I want from the 10s is they go past Rasmus into the box. If Rasmus is in the box, they've got to be in the box as well.
Yeah.
You can't have these players going wide. That's what Dorgu's there for. That's Ahmad, Dallo, whoever's on. They're the wide players. You need to be in the box occupying a defender. And it seems like that's the bit that's not clicking. But I'm not even sure if we have an attacking coach, a striking coach, or anything like that currently at the club. It was something we got rid of, and I never heard of anyone being given that job back unless Amarin's appointed one of his to deal with it.
Potentially, yeah.
But that final third now, it seems like the end of last season we sorted out the defending. We had reliable, 5 centre-backs. I know we've got injuries still, but we were sort of happy with how we defended, but we couldn't score goals. Now we've dropped Bruno back, who... He done okay today. He played some great passes over. I thought Casemiro was brilliant today.
Solid.
The amount of things I've saw tweets from the United stands like, oh, well, he played better than expected. This guy was a world-class midfielder, but we've been exposing him by letting people run at him. Yeah. He was getting on the ball and playing those balls to cross-field balls constantly. Every single one went to someone's feet. Do you know what I mean? 40, 50-yard balls. Paul Scholes-esque. I thought he was superb. So we're slowly making those movements forward. And I think when we play next week Fulham and then it's Burnley afterwards, for me, it's an easy 6 points. This is a big if, I don't know if this is a fear for you guys or anyone in the chat. Did we play today because we played against Arsenal? Are we going to turn up and play like that against Burnley, against Leeds, against the teams that have just come up, the lesser teams that you're expected to beat on paper? If we play like that every game, I have no doubt we will finish in a European spot. Big save, Matt, but that is how you do it. You fight for every ball and you battle, and we know we have quality.
No, I completely agree. It all comes down to opening game of the season. There's a lot riding on it. You want to make a big impression. They're going to be disappointed because the performance, like we've said, was exceptional. It's better than what we expected. The players that have been brought in obviously have proven that so far worth the money. Couple goals in them, you're going to think, right, this is a confidence building team. I think the fact that we've lost might be a blessing in that respect because now they're going to be thinking, right, now we need to prove that the performance against Arsenal was not a one-off. We now need to go away to Fulham, play the way we've done today, and now it proves to the fact that we can score 3 or 4 and get... Because I think I've got the team's lineups here. With everyone fit, I still think that, back three that they had of Yoro, De Ligt and Shaw, I don't think that's our back three with everyone fit. I think you immediately add Mazraoui into that.
No, I think he goes right wing back instead of Dallo.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think Dallo's there to stay.
I we spoke about this. They gave him the number 2 shirt, so he should be a starter. But I think Mazraoui is so much more dangerous in that wing back position, as in covering for us and going forward.
And then you've also got people like Martinez to come back as well.
Yeah,
which
that's the one I'm interested in: Martinez or Shaw. And whether he puts Shaw out, if Luke Shaw gets his fitness back, Luke Shaw is an unbelievable wing back. Unbelievable wing
but
back.
then
For England in the Euros before he picked
oh
up
yeah,
those countries.
yeah. But then if you put him up against Dorgu today, Dorgu was exceptional today.
Dora was brilliant.
So
Yeah.
So good.
you can't like it's
But then you
comparing.
can put Dorgu on the right, and that's the position he was playing when we bought him.
I think the Dallo and Dorgu situation stays as is.
Yeah.
I think that he's already chosen that. The goalkeeper situation is something that needs to be addressed. We've already discussed that.
Can we
I
say
think
De Ligt was well classed today. Gyökeres,
I
get out of his pocket.
I was just going to say,
that guy does not need to carry him around for the rest of the game, does he?
yeah, 100%. You know, he had Gyökeres exactly where he wanted in the entire game, and when he got taken off, it was like, yeah, you've had no impact on today's match. You could say the same for Šeško. You know, when he came on, he had not really much of an impact, but the
But we didn't give
difference
him
is,
the ball. They were giving Gyökeres the ball, and De Ligt was just like, bang, get
yeah,
out. I'm taking
100%.
the ball. I've taken your boots. I've taken your wife. I don't care. It's all mine.
Yeah, and it's the same with Euro. You know, I think there's not many players you can say had a bad game. Ahmad probably was a bit off the pace when he came on. Like we've said already, you know, the chemistry between him and Buemo needs to be worked on. Because if Ahmad's going to be the wing back to come on to replace Dallo in games, he needs to understand that that's his position. So he needs to be playing off of Mbuemo, not in Mbuemo's pocket. Because that's where it went wrong in those final moments. You know, where he tackled his own player and
I
Mbuemo
thought he
wasn't able.
just blocked it originally. You know, when they ran in together. And then they showed it in slow mo, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, you've literally taken it off his toe to swing a foot at it.
Yeah.
You know? I think if he doesn't, he just takes the defender away, and it's a goal. But Mbomo was unlucky. That header on another day might bounce up and go top corner.
Yeah, that was as good as he could have done it.
I love that. He just sort of slaps himself back. Was no real momentum. He just slaps himself back into it. But yeah,
Martinelli tried that as well, didn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, Arsenal, like you just said, they could have been off the pace, and that's always a fear. Did we look good against an under? You can only play the team in front of you, which is the most bullshit thing you could say. Because if they're not fit and you are, but they still come away with the win, what's that say about you? If you use that as an analogy.
To be fair to Arsenal, I've watched a few of their games in pre-season, and I seen their first game in pre-season. I seen another subsequent game. I don't know what's their third or fourth game, but their fitness levels don't look like they're improving at all. Like they looked as leggy today as they did in their first pre-season game, which
and there's no
is
excuse
unusual.
for it, is there? They didn't play no tournament.
No, they played the Emirates Cup. I think that's what they did, but they weren't traveling an exceptional amount. But you wonder internally, did the Thomas Partey situation kind of cause a little bit of psychological disruption there in that squad? And look, I'm not saying they looked psychologically befuddled today at all. They were quite solid, but they didn't look like a team who'd finished second the last few seasons and were the closest rivals to the team who won the Premier League. Like if you played that same game again today another 9 times, Man United are winning that game 7 times out of the next 9. They were just unlucky today. So I wonder, did that Partey situation? Like, you've got to remember, like Mikel Arteta openly defended him, and like these are human beings we're talking about. These are guys in the dressing room that have wives, girlfriends, daughters, mothers, sisters. It does affect people, so it's natural that it might affect the players. Look, I'm obviously delving very deep here, but in terms of their fitness levels, I haven't seen an awful lot of improvement from them over the last 5 or 6 weeks. So look, only time will tell whether that point is correct. It could be in 3 or 4 weeks' time, they could be the fittest team in the Premier League, but they don't seem like they're improving fitness-wise. They looked a bit gassed today, and there's no real excuse for that in the opening game of the season. You should be ready to go in the opening game of the season, especially a team as experienced as Arsenal. Man United are a team who are building here. They're in transition. Should be a ready-made Arsenal team. This should have been toying with Man United today, and it was the other way around.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And what I would say is, though, Subamendi, I thought it wasn't all that when we played against him in the second leg, at the end of last season. But if he thinks he can stroll around the pitch like that in the Premier League, he's got a rude awakening, because he was caught napping. It literally, United almost targeted him. But what I did find was obviously they started Ben White, and I don't know who it was who played at left back. Can't think. But when they brought Skelly and Timber on,
Caliafiore, wasn't it? Played left back.
Yeah. I know he got the goal, but let's be fair, he basically could have just let it hit him. When they brought the two subs on, they're my first choice if I was an Arsenal fan, if I was an Arsenal coach. They're my first choice fullbacks. So did they put them on because, like you just said, some are lacking minutes, some, fitness is down. Oh, we're only playing Man United or something like that, thinking they could get more legs in them. I wasn't expecting Martinelli to play, if I'm honest. I think a lot of people expected him to be one of the players replaced. I sort of wondered if they would do something with Gyökeres and Havertz in the same lineup. I think Arsenal went for it with Gyökeres up front today. He, like I say, he got smashed around, but he wasn't rapid. He wasn't fully fit, and he hasn't looked fit in the last two games, which I watched. So yeah, and that's what I was trying to allude to. Like, we might have just played well against an under strength Arsenal side physically, but we can't let that drop, because we're only going to get better if we play every game like that and we run for 90, 100 minutes flat out. Right, you're knackered, 5 subs, there you go, bring them on, we go again. But a lot of it comes back to the shape. It's our shape, and I understood all of it apart from, like I say, that false 9/striker. That was the only thing I could not work out who was there. So I find it hard to think, how do the players know? Do you know what I mean? How do the players know to play that forward pass to someone? But Arsenal did look slow and sluggish today.
Yeah, Amorim speaking to BBC Match of the Day, similar comments to what he said to Sky Sports. We deserved more and we were the better team, that is clear. But in the end of the day, we lost. We need to work on things. We need to improve, and we need to defend set pieces. We did a lot of things right. There are a lot of things, without seeing the video, that we need to work on. I'm really proud of my players. We were aggressive and brave in certain moments, and I think Brian and Mbeumo and Cunha helped a lot. We stuck to the plan. Even when the stadium was nervous, we continued to play the way we played. That will help us in the future. The fans want that feeling again. We go to Old Trafford and we are not going to get bored. We need to win more than last season, but they want to see something and feel something. And on Cunha and Mbeumo, everybody can understand that they are very good players in that position. It didn't need to work. It didn't need a lot of work to feel that there is their position. Sometimes you can look at the game in many ways. In the first half, Cunha has to go out because the centre-backs are very strong. And then when you have Šeško and you have a different type of player, that is important. For me, that we have different players to play different games. So, yeah, very, very similar comments to what you said to Sky Sports, and I don't think we have much to disagree on there. Right, let's... I think we can all agree with lots and lots of positives to take away from today, but I think all it comes down to now is just if they can continue that momentum going into the Fulham game. And then, obviously, we've also got a Grimsby away to look forward to. Is it Grimsby away in the Carabao Cup in a few weeks? Let's have a look. So, Carabao Cup ties. Is it not next weekend? It's the week after, I believe.
No, it's the Wednesday after Fulham. We play Fulham Carabao Cup Wednesday, and then we play Burnley.
Oh yeah, so, August 27th. Yeah.
So that'll be an interesting lineup. See who he puts out. I'd expect maybe Fredrickson and people like that playing. Heaton starts in goal, but Šeško will have to start. He'll need the minutes, so that's a good. It's a good game for him to maybe get an easy run out and get battered around a bit, because that's what Grimsby's centre backs will do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all in all, let's just hope. What's everyone's one thing they're taking away from today? Like, if I'm a genie, I can give us all one wish. What's the one thing we need to change?
Goalkeeper,
100%.
Goalkeeper, yeah, all the same. And are we all going literally between the same two, or are we looking at this youngster? Because the youngster for Le Mans, however you pronounce it, he worries me that he would make the same mistake there, potentially under pressure. Whereas a more older and experienced keeper goes, "Get the fuck off me," and just big push in the back and come and take.
It's difficult because I think as much as Donnarumma and Martinez, I would take either of those two in a heartbeat. I think either of them are probably going to be down the route of wanting Champions League football first of all. Donnarumma's on massive money and he's got a big ego and he brings a lot with him. But again, he is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. There's a lot of unrest at Barcelona's keeper with Mark ter Stegen. That's another goalkeeper that I would take in a heartbeat. They're in a big fallout at the moment. So that might be something to look at.
But let's just take their Champions League side out of it. We've got to put in the. I'm talking about we've got to go for a goalkeeper, so we've got to make a
if
bid.
we're gonna make bids,
we're not in Europe. Fair enough. We've got to hold our hands up and go, we're shit. We fucked up. We're not in Europe,
but I think it gives us a lot of encouragement that today, I think, like you said, there's a good chance we're getting into Europe next year. If we see performances like that throughout the season, there's no doubt in my mind we will be playing European football. Not this season, obviously, this next season. Yeah. So, but yeah, any goalkeeper that is going to, like you say, command his box, push players out of the way when you get into positions like that, because it's a poor goal to concede by any goalkeeper standards. But with a good, strong, loud-speaking goalkeeper in that position, a Martinez, a Donnarumma, anyone is just going to say, no, get out of my way, push him over, take a yellow card for pushing the player. He ain't going to do it again, So, but also I think the other takeaway is that Šeško should have been on from minute one.
But I think we all believe that wasn't going to happen anyway, just from what he's done with other players.
But then why put Cunha and Mbeumo to start? I know they had pre-season games. I get that. But then if you're going to play Šeško every game now for the rest of the season, even if you took Šeško off after 60 and then put Mount on or whatever he was going to play, if you didn't want to give him a full game, you start him and then take him off halfway through.
I'm the biggest takeaway for me. Goalkeepers are, I think, aside. We all can agree that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But to not put Rasmus when he's done nothing wrong that we know of, if he has done something wrong and that's really pissed the manager off, and he's gone, right, you're not even in the squad, mate. I want you gone.
Yeah. He was in the stadium, though, wasn't he? He was in the
stadium, and it was with Banana up top. But like I said, Obi wasn't on the bench. We got Šeško, we got Xerxes. Well, Xerxes so far has been injury prone. I'm now worried we're pushing a young kiddie out for when we said bring in competition for a place, you have to raise your game. We're not giving anyone that chance. If we get one injury, we're reliant on a 17, 18-year-old to come in as your backup again. And then we're back to square one because, let's be fair, Šeško's only 22. So that's my one takeaway is there's still got to be some kind of divide there.
But it also removes that, stick Maguire on at the last 10 minutes to try and get a head on it because you've got the height of Šeško. He's going to get his head on balls if
I don't want that. He's not a fucking Peter Crouch couldn't head the ball when he's 6'7".
Yeah, but we've seen the training videos. I know it's all PR, but we've seen the training videos of balls coming over the box. Šeško's getting on him and he's getting serious power behind those headers. So
he is, but where's the defender to block him from making that
jump?
Oh,
I know. That's what I just said. It's PR. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. What we do well in the Premier League is defend, isn't it? Our centre-backs. Doesn't matter what nationality, but if you're Premier League centre-back, it's very hard to get any momentum. They're all over you.
Yeah.
And that's why you need that second runner sometimes. Like you just said, don't put a Maguire in there.
But you put it that way, that Mbeumo header where it didn't go in, admittedly, it was as good as it could have been. Is it going to be different if Šeško gets his head on that? Or is the eventuality the same?
Well, look, I want to see those two next to each other because I swear Mbeumo's shrinking. Every time I see him, he looks smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
But because I think that's like Šeško's like waist height when he heads it. But no, it could do. It could have been a volley on another day. Like I said, it goes in. But yeah, I think I saw Šeško have 2 touches and they were both balls flung into the box where he's never scoring with that header because it's not the kind of ball you want for a header. It's not drilled back at you. Like you just said about the cross and what you've seen in the PR. He's got the jump because it's a decent cross and we're just flinging a ball in with no weight on it. You're not scoring.
But the crosses we were putting in the first half with no player in there.
Yeah, fucking perfect for him. So we can only hope.
Should we do some quick predictions for the season? Oh, Mark looks so disappointed. Go on, Jonathan. Where are United going to finish this year after game 1? Your personal opinion.
if they continue playing the way like they played today and treat the next 37 league games like 37 finals, which I have a feeling that they will because it's such a short season, they've got to put everything into the Premier League this year, then I think there's no reason why we can't finish top eight and push for Europa League spots. If a lot of things go our way, we could definitely get Champions League. But look, I'm not even thinking about that. I just want to get some respectability back in the club. I'm sick of being a banter club in the Premier League. I want some respect again. I want us to be winning games. I want us to be scoring goals. I want to be enjoying watching the team. I enjoyed watching United again today. I just all it was missing was a goal just to cap the performance. So I think we can get top eight, and then we've got a target. Obviously, the cup competitions then as well. I know Mark was saying there. I think you might see the likes of Fredrickson and Heaton play against Grimsby. I would disagree. I think he's going to go strong in all the cup competitions because he has to. The last time we were in this situation, Van Gaal made wholesale changes at MK Dons, and we all know how that ended. So he can't afford to take those chances. We don't really need. I know it's 3 games in 7 or 8 days, because of the Premier League games as well. But I think he's just got to go strong. He's got to roll the dice and just go strong. I think we've got a squad there. We can make a few changes and still be strong enough to beat the likes of Grimsby. So yeah, I think definitely we can finish top 8 if we maintain the energy and athleticism of today and the hunger of today, and we start sort of scoring some goals. I don't think there's any reason why we can't finish in the top 8 for sure.
All right, Mark, what about you?
I've been saying since we brought in Cunha and then Burmo, once we got them over the thing, I think it's Conference League and above. I think if you're bringing in that many people, and then I said a striker at the time, I thought Gyökeres would be our striker, that's why it's hilarious about his performance. Yeah, I think Conference League. I do agree with you about targeting the cups because it's a guaranteed lifeline back into Europe. I think we can still put out a strong team by rotating. Our substitutes today: Xerxes, Heaven, Mainu, Ugarte, Fredrickson, Diallo, Tom Heaton, Sesko and Maguire. So if you rotate them around, that's still quite a strong starting 11, isn't it? Even if you took half of the team off. But you're right, you lose the consistency of what you might be trying to build. But yeah, I think I'll be happy. I would be happy with Conference League, qualification, or above, and Carabao Cup. Because let's be fair, Carabao Cup is the easiest cup to target because most teams will rotate.
Mm-hmm.
But the Carabao Cup doesn't give you European football, does it?
Does.
Gives you a Conference League spot.
No, because you can only have one team in the Conference League.
Bear with, call up.
I think they took that spot away from, and that's how they've fucked around with all the European spots.
Maybe they did. Yeah, it used to definitely be a European spot, but they might have changed it.
So if that is the case, it's a trophy, but it's not worth targeting. You go all out in the FA Cup, which also means that's Saturday football, so you don't actually affect your one game a week unless you get a replay.
The Carabao Cup winner receives £100,000 as prize money. Additionally, the champions earn a spot in the Europa Conference League playoff round.
Oh,
so you get a playoff round. Newcastle won the Conference League, didn't they? Newcastle won the Carabao Cup and got Champions League football, which then meant it passed on, didn't it?
Normally, you can see why, because normally whoever wins the Carabao Cup is probably already in a European competition because we get so many places as it is. Maybe that's what I was thinking. So yeah, so come on, you've got to target one trophy. I know that sounds bad because you should try and win every game. But in a rebuild, you've got to guarantee that European football for next season to keep rebuilding, haven't you?
Yeah. No, I would 100% agree. I've said with the signings we've made now, even without a goalkeeper, I think easily it's a Conference League spot without question. Because you're looking at the top 4 is now featuring 7 teams that could easily get into top 4 football.
Yeah,
you've got Liverpool pretty much nailed on. City, Arsenal, Chelsea are probably the go-to top 4. Then you're adding in people like Villa and Newcastle who got close. and then you're adding in you've got the like
Brighton.
Brighton, they're pushing. So we're in that mix of the sort of like not the Newcastle Villa. We're in the sort of ones like Forest, Brighton, Palace. The ones that are now pushing a bit further up the table, because we have to remember, everyone watching now, you have to remember where we finished and how abysmal we were in the league last year. It sugarcoated the fact that we got to a European final, how bad it really was. It became unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
So if we get, I've said top 10 Europa League conference spot, I'll take that, and a good cup run in the FA Cup. And I agree with you, Mark. I don't think the Carabao Cup is too difficult a trophy to target. It's not going to bring us money. It's not going to bring us fortunes and fames, but it gives us. It gives you. Who else has won it? We had.
It's a backup plan.
It's a backup plan.
Backup plan. That's the thing. You've got right now. We are in a position, as you just said, we should never have been in 15th. We were Manchester United. We should never have been down there last season, but we were. We have now got to come back from that, and we need Plan A, we need Plan B, and fuck me, we probably even need a Plan C.
I have a question to both of you. If we finish, let's say we finish 9th, and we win nothing, are you happy?
It depends on the performances. If we finish 9th and we've been playing all season very close to the standard we've seen today, then I will be happy to continue to back Amram, because I remember looking at Klopp and thinking he was doing well, but there was still so many holes. And then there was a summer where they brought in Allison and they brought in Fabinho, and all of a sudden they looked like a different team with just two
levels,
signings.
They jumped.
Yeah, the people mentioned Van Dijk, and don't get me wrong, Van Dijk was a transformative signing for that Klopp team, but people forget that summer when they bought Fabinho and Allison, it just completely transformed them. And that's why if we did finish 9th and those positive signs were still there that we saw today, and there was a clear plan and direction, I think most proper football fans, proper Man United fans, will be happy to say, right, no, he deserves another season. Bring in a couple of midfielders, bring in a proper goalkeeper if we haven't done already, and let's keep this process going, because we're almost there. We've taken a step up the table. Now is the big drive for the Champions League and maybe competing for the Premier League title as well. But yeah, certainly, I wouldn't be happy if we finished 9th and we've transcended back into the shit we saw last year. Absolutely not. No. But if we play something similar to what we've seen today, then I'd have no issue with finishing 9th. I hope we don't finish 9th. I hope we finish higher, but I'd have no issue with finishing 9th.
You got to realise, I totally echo what Jonathan just said, because if you say the top 4 is nailed on almost, or the top 3 are nailed on, 4th and 5th are fought out maybe between 3 teams on paper, would be Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa. But Villa look like they're going to have a drop off. Newcastle look like they're going to have a drop off. If
we forget about Tottenham as well.
Eze was saying goodbye to the Palace fans today when I saw him come off that pitch, and that they lose him, Palace are going to drop off. Brighton didn't look all that, they obviously might drop off. So yeah, that's when you become, hang on, if their levels are dropping and we're below them, then that's bad. But that's where we got to exploit it, and that's why I'm thinking we go back up the table. It's about the other teams just as much as it's about us. You don't want to. Do you remember when Klopp came in? He was beating us, Newcastle, not Newcastle then, but us, Chelsea, Man City, and then losing to the Southamptons and shit like that down the bottom of the league.
Yeah,
that's what we can't be doing.
Yeah,
we have to have got, I don't know, 60 points off the bottom 10. Yeah, I think that's what I'm expecting this season. 60 points off the bottom 10 teams come the end of the season. And if you've done that and you've got all your other games, you're guaranteed European football.
Also, on the back of today's game, at least there is definitely going to be a different media, because United have had a really bad outlook from the media point of view for last season. Rightfully so, admittedly. United were poor last season. We can all agree with that. But we're definitely going to see a change in mentality towards United in the papers and on radio tomorrow. Of Arsenal.
I don't.
100%. I think so. I think you're going to get.
I see it, Nathan. I see it. It's Talk Sports. I know you listen to it. I see it being United weren't good. Arsenal were that bad and they managed to win. That's what I think the narrative will be. And I
Fair
still
play.
don't see a clear pattern, style of play for Man United. I guarantee you, that's what I'm
No,
going with.
I can see that, but I would like to imagine. I can see that for sure from certain. I think there's probably a few that we could probably name off the top of our heads that will push that narrative. But there is also, I think, a select few that will go, no, Arsenal were bad, but United were good, and it was unfortunate that and I think a lot of them will pick up the point that there wasn't a striker on that pitch in the first half.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree, as in that's how it should be looked at. I just don't think the narrative changes till we've played
maybe I'm giving the media too much of a
3 or 4 games. You've got to think we play Burnley next. Oh, Fulham, then Burnley and Grimsby in between that. 3, what we'd say, winnable games, yeah? But then that next game is City, if I'm right. I think it's City.
Mm-hmm.
So we're straight back in the mixing pot again. And it's about City looked dangerous yesterday. So how bad are Burnley? If City put 4 past them, we need to be putting 2 or 3 past them. Yeah?
Oh, was there an international break in the first week of September?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
what
we've
a
got
bastard.
2. September and then October/November, I think.
Yeah, we've got no game the first week of September, and then we play City on the 14th of September.
Yeah.
So we're looking at, let's be realistic, we're looking at, or I say realistic, from our point of view, we're looking at 6 points from 2 games, or from 3 games, and the next round of the Carabao Cup in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and we all would have taken that at the start of the season. I know I said I thought we could beat Arsenal, and let's be fair, I'm not entirely wrong, but it just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I would take 6 points from 3 games.
Yeah,
because the 6 points come from the teams you have to beat. There are no excuses. You have to beat those teams.
Yeah, and good, decent performances. I think we'll all accept that. Who's your top goal scorer going to be this year, Mark?
What for United? All these are based on United.
Yeah, all these are based on United. Yeah, you can do a Premier League Golden Boot as well if you want. Let's chuck that in there as well. Why not?
I think Haaland takes the Golden Boot again. I think City come back this year.
Just to let you know, I am writing these down, so we'll reflect on these at the end of the year.
For United, I'm going to go with Burmo. I think he scores more than Sesko or Cunha. But I think there's a decent tally between all 3 of them put together, I think.
Jonathan?
I agree with the Haaland prediction. I can't, if he stays fit, there's no one going to beat him in the top goal scorer chart, I don't think. From a United point of view, I'm going to back Šeško. I think he might hit. I think 14 or 15 goals will be the top scorer for Man United. I don't think he'll be getting sensational, so I think Šeško, I'd fancy him to get 14, 15 goals. I think he'll be our top scorer.
If we play like we did today and he's up front, I can see him scoring 20.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
I can see it, but I don't believe that other players won't start taking more shots in games after he's scored. And that's my fear. I still have that big fear, Nathan, from last season that people go, no, I want my goal. I want to score. Because I still think we play like a bunch of kids in that respect.
No, I agree. I'm going slightly different. I'm going Cunha.
Oh, fucking, let's take the front 3 then, right?
Yeah. Might as well. One of us is bound to be right, unless Bruno starts chipping in. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go Cunha.
If Bruno wins it, I'm not counting it from penalty if it's all on penalties.
No, that's not how this works. If Haaland gets Premier League Golden Boot, you're taking it though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I would be still pissed off at your penalty, your top goal scorers because of penalties, and it's not one of the front 3. I said that before, didn't I? I don't get it. It doesn't happen in most professional football clubs that your striker doesn't take your penalties.
Yeah. Finally, I think we'll finish on this. Teams to go down. I'll give you mine straight away. I think it's Brentford. I think they're really going to struggle losing their captain, their goalkeeper, and their manager. So I think, and obviously, and their top striker, and the likelihood that Johan Wissa is going to be out the door as well. I think they're losing their spine and their core of the team. I think Leeds I think there's been a lot made about Leeds that they're going to come up and do really well. I think they'll lose tomorrow night to Everton. Honestly, I think Everton have got a lot more about them this year, and I think Leeds are just they're gonna crumble, unfortunately. And I think Burnley are going to be found out. You know, unfortunately, I like Burnley as a club. You know, it's sort of like your old school proper football club. But I think Scott Parker, as much as he's a good manager, you can't play the same way that you played in the Championship in the Premier League.
No.
He got sacked for doing that last time.
Exactly, and they've lost James Trafford, so yeah, I'll be surprised if they manage to stay up. But I think Sunderland are in with a really good shout. You know, really good performance at home yesterday.
Oh, it's a great game.
Great game of football. So yeah, I think Sunderland will stay up, but unfortunately, Brentford, Leeds, and Burnley for me. Mark, go for it.
Me?
Yeah,
I think Burnley. I think Burnley go back down. Everything you just said about that, I think it's going to be their downfall again. I think for Sunderland to stay up, I think then it becomes 2 from 3. I think Burnley's nailed on to go back down. But then it's Leeds and a toss-up between Brentford, but who I'm going for, West Ham.
Oh, I like it. I actually heard on TalkSport this very morning a West Ham fan, and I thought I recognised that voice. And it turns out it was James Jones from the West Ham podcast, who we had on this very podcast in the FA Cup round a few months ago. So if you are listening or you're watching, James, I really liked your insight this morning on the Premier League on TalkSport. So it'd be great to have you back on at some point.
The fact they played one game and they're calling for the sacking of the manager, great.
I mean, might have been yesterday morning, might have been, but either way, then they had Baroness Karen Brady on this morning on TalkSport, and I thought, you know, say what you like about them, but you know, to have one of your owners come on the day after getting a 3-0 drumming against a newly promoted side, you know. So you've gone, just to confirm, Burnley, Leeds, West Ham.
Yeah.
Right, Jonathan, finish us off.
I agree with the Burnley point. I think they're going to be similar to Southampton. I think they'll record more points, but I just think the writing's on the wall already for them. I think Brentford as well. I would agree with you, Nathan. I think they've lost a lot of experience there, lost their captain, lost their top goal scorer. Look like they're going to lose another key goal scorer. I know they made a record signing there from Bournemouth there today, but I just don't think they're going to have enough. So I think Brentford will go down, and I think Wolves will go down.
Okay.
They just, I don't know. I know they finished the season well last year. There's just something about them. I think they just lack something for a few seasons now, and I just think it might catch up with them this year.
Would it be the really shit goalkeeper and the fact we've taken Cunha off him at the other end?
Probably, yeah.
Because you have just picked Cunha's team and then Burma's team, but with both.
Yeah. We just relegated 2 teams. No, I don't think West Ham will be far off, though. I would agree with Mark. I think West Ham will be closer to the relegation zone than they'd like, but I think they'll just have enough. I think they probably will end up making a change, but they'll just have enough. But yeah,
they have got money in the bank, West Ham. That's the only thing for them. They've got money in the bank to call on from the.
Yeah, so I think Wolves, Brentford, and Burnley to go down.
Okay, I suppose we should actually. Who's winning the Premier League?
City for me.
Mark?
Yeah. From what I saw of Liverpool and what I've seen of just one game, but like Liverpool, there's a few issues there at the back, so I'm going City.
Yeah,
if they go out and sign 4 centre backs, then Liverpool will have a good chance. But at the moment, they need to sign at least 2 more.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm gonna say as it currently stands, I would say City, but I will be interested to see if Liverpool sign Isak, whether that actually happens this season or not. If
I was impressed with FTK, I'll say that.
Would, yeah. Yeah, him.
Yeah. What's his name?
Yeah, Hugo. Yeah, I'll stick with City because I think it doesn't look like that is going to win. That is going to happen. The Isaac, but yeah, I think we can all agree that I think Arsenal haven't shown us anything today, especially that they're ready to become the brides and they'll just continue to be the bridesmaids.
And I look at their results as well. You know, they lose or draw with Arsenal, Tottenham, when it pre-season. Some of the games, it's just they didn't really get going. So yeah, we'll have to
Yeah,
wait and see.
wait and see. Right, great work, guys. Yeah, so I think we can all agree lots of positives to take away, and it's just let's just say it is fucking good that the Premier League is back. Thank you everyone for watching. Keep an eye on our socials. Looking forward to bringing you as much content as physically possible. We'll be doing probably a roundup in the week, and then we'll be doing a preview and hopefully a review of the Fulham game after that. But until then, thank you very much, gents. But we will see you soon.
Take care.